let's just jump right in. Today, we're unpacking a totally invisible force that actually dictates the value of literally everything you own. I mean, you know the feeling, right? You find a crisp $20 bill in an old winter coat, but when you actually go to the store, it buys maybe half of what it did a decade ago. The numbers on the bill haven't changed, but the power behind them completely vanished.
Seriously, imagine walking into your absolute favorite local cafe. You slap down a $5 bill for your usual morning latte, a routine you've had for years, only to have the barista look at you and say, "Yeah, sorry, that's going to be $10 today." It's incredibly frustrating. You obviously haven't time traveled, and let's be real, that cup of coffee definitely hasn't magically doubled in quality. Your $5 bill just buys less today than it did yesterday. And that is the very real, very tangible impact of what we're exploring in this explainer.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for demystifying this whole thing. We'll start with the financial seesaw. Then we'll look at the three main culprits behind rising prices: demand pull, cost push, and money supply. And finally, we'll wrap up with the healthy economy paradox.
So part 1, the financial seesaw. What actually is inflation?
At its absolute core, inflation is just the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services goes up across an entire economy. And notice I said the general level there. We're not just talking about your coffee getting pricier because, say, a local farm had a bad harvest. We're talking about everything, everywhere trending upward. But here's the thing. It isn't just some simple math equation. It's actually a super complex balance between the raw amount of money we print and, well, the profound human confidence we have in the future. Because ultimately, human trust is what dictates the true value of any currency.
So, try not to think of inflation as an elevator just going up. It's actually more like a giant financial seesaw. As the price of everyday goods, like your groceries or your rent, goes up on one side, the actual purchasing power of your money drops on the other. They are completely intrinsically linked. And because of this seesaw effect, a single dollar in your pocket today just buys you way less than a single dollar did, say, 50 years ago. Your purchasing power falls simply because the general value of goods has risen.
Moving on to culprit 1, demand pull. Basically, too much chasing too little.
And this brilliantly illustrates how it works. Imagine a specific brand of bicycle suddenly goes completely viral online. Everyone has to have it. But there's a physical limitation, right? The factory can only pump out 100 of these bikes per day. Suddenly you've got 10,000 eager people trying to buy a mere 100 bicycles. So what happens? Well, the sellers see this massive line out the door and realize they hold all the cards. They can easily raise the price, and people will still absolutely pay it because the demand is just that incredibly high.
Now, take that bicycle scenario and imagine it happening across an entire country, all at once. When consumers have a lot of cash in their pockets and they want to buy way more goods than the economy can physically manufacture, overall prices just get pulled upward by that sheer demand. It's the classic textbook definition: too much money chasing too few goods. That, in a nutshell, is demand pull inflation.
Next up, culprit 2, cost push. I like to call this one the domino effect.
Think of cost push inflation as this giant economic chain reaction. Let's start with, say, a natural disaster. A massive, totally unprecedented drought wipes out a huge chunk of the world's wheat supply. Because wheat is suddenly rare, its wholesale price shoots up. Bam, that's the first domino falling. Now for the second domino. Suddenly, every bakery in your city has to pay significantly more just to buy the basic flour to make a simple loaf of bread. And then the third domino falls right onto you. Just to stay in business and keep the lights on, that bakery literally has no choice but to push that extra cost directly onto the consumer.
And we see this domino effect constantly with global energy. If the raw cost of a barrel of oil gets more expensive, well then the gasoline needed for shipping gets more expensive, which means absolutely everything that travels on a truck, from your fresh produce to your brand new electronics, automatically gets a price hike to cover that transportation cost. The cost of making and moving things is actively pushing the overall prices up.
All right, culprit 3, money supply. This is where the central bank comes in.
So central banks have this massive lever they can pull. When they decide to print more money or keep interest rates incredibly low, it totally changes how we behave. Suddenly, borrowing money to buy a house, get a new car, or even start a business becomes very cheap and very easy. As a direct result, fresh cash just aggressively floods the financial system. And with all this new money sitting in their accounts, people naturally want to go out and spend it.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the analogy here. If you pump the economy full of fresh cash, but the actual creation of physical goods doesn't increase to match it, the core value of each dollar drops. It is exactly like watering down a bowl of soup. Sure, if you pour a cup of water in, yes, you technically have more total soup, but each spoonful has significantly less flavor. It's the same with currency. When you print money without making more goods, each dollar simply loses its punch.
Which brings us to Section 5, the healthy economy paradox, and really the big picture here. First off, let's acknowledge the dramatic stakes of getting this wrong. When the money supply process spirals completely out of control, you get hyperinflation. And this isn't just about paying more for your coffee. This is a force that can thoroughly destabilize entire societies. In fact, historically, severe inflation was a major contributing factor to the total collapse of the Tokugawa Shogunate and the entire political restructuring of Japan back in the late 19th century. When trust in the value of money vanishes entirely, empires can quite literally fall apart.
But let's take a step back and bring it to a more balanced view. I know it's really easy to look at inflation purely as the enemy. Some hidden wallet tax maliciously designed to drain your hard-earned savings. But honestly, it's way more accurate to reframe it as a complex, breathing economic mechanic. It's literally just the natural respiration of supply, demand, and currency circulation interacting with human behavior every single day.
So the crucial takeaway here is this surprising paradox. Economists actually generally agree that a small, controlled amount of inflation is a very good thing. It's the sign of a healthy, growing economy. Why? Well, because it actively encourages people to spend and invest their money today. Think about it. If you know your money is going to be worth a tiny bit less next year, you're highly motivated to put it to use right now, rather than just hoarding it under your mattress. And that constant movement of money is exactly what keeps businesses open, funds new innovations, and keeps the whole economic engine running smoothly.
And that brings us to the end of our journey through the mechanics of the financial seesaw. We've seen how too much demand, rising production costs, and flooded money supplies all play a huge part in shaping the actual value of your dollar. So now I want you to take a second and reflect on your own life. Think about that invisible hand we've been discussing. What everyday item have you noticed spiking in price recently? And more importantly, which of our three culprits do you think might be pulling the strings behind that specific price tag? It's pretty fascinating once you start seeing the matrix of how our economy actually breathes. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes open, and as always, keep asking questions.